the devil's echo. The first time Anneliese Michel heard the voice, she thought it was her conscience. A raspy, guttural whisper slithered into her ear during evening prayers. So faint, she almost mistook it for the rustle of her rosary beads. "God isn't listening," it hissed. She was 16, kneeling in the cold, incense-heavy air of her family's chapel, when the shadows behind the altar seemed to lean closer. By the time she crossed herself and stood, her palms were slick with sweat. No one believed her. Not her devout Catholic parents, who blamed fatigue. Not the doctors, who diagnosed temporal lobe epilepsy and prescribed pills that turned her bones to lead. But Anneliese knew. The voice wasn't in her head. It was under her skin, clawing its way out. Anneliese's childhood had been a tapestry of rigid piety. Born in 1952 to a fiercely Catholic family in West Germany, she was taught that every sin, no matter how small, left a stain on the soul. Her mother, a woman whose face seemed permanently pinched by disappointment, reminded her daily, "Pray for the wicked, Anneliese, even the wicked inside us." By 14, she was spending hours confessing imagined sins, a stolen glance, a fleeting doubt, to priests who dismissed her as overly scrupulous. But the voice changed everything. It began subtly. A growl in the dark as she lit candles. A flicker of movement in her bedroom mirror. Something hunched and grinning. Then came the seizures. Violent, thrashing episodes where her body arched like a bowstring. Her throat shredding itself in a language no one recognized. Doctors increased her medication. Priests sprinkled holy water on her doorstep. Neither worked. By 1973, the voice had a name. "We are Belial." It snarled during a midnight episode, her jaw unhinging like a snake's as her parents pinned her to the bed. "And she is ours." Her parents begged the church for an exorcism, denied, then denied again. The Vatican required proof. Signs of the diabolical, they said. So Anneliese gave it to them. She stopped eating, claiming food rotted in her mouth. She licked urine off the floor. She tore at her own face, screeching that the crucifix above her bed burned her eyes. When her parents finally filmed one of her fits, her body levitating inches off the mattress, her voice a chorus of snarls and hisses, the church relented. Father Arnold Renz and Father Ernst Alt arrived on a rain-lashed September night in 1975. They found Anneliese chained to her bed, her wrists raw from struggle. Her once soft face was gaunt, her eyes 2 black pits. "The devil's mark," one priest muttered, staring at the inverted cross carved into her palm. The first exorcism lasted 14 hours. Anneliese howled. She spat. She recited blasphemies in Latin, Greek, and Aramaic, languages she'd never learned. The priest chanted louder, pressing relics to her skin until it blistered. "Christ compels you," they roared. But the voices only laughed. 67 exorcisms, 10 months. Anneliese withered. She refused food, surviving on sips of holy water and the occasional communion wafer. Her teeth fell out. Her ribs jutted like gravestones. Yet the voices thrived, taunting the priests with prophecies of hellfire and secrets only the damned should know. "Judas tasted your blood," they crooned through her cracked lips. "He said it was bitter." On July 1st, 1976, Anneliese's body finally gave out. She died at 23, weighing 68 pounds. Her last words, a wet, rattling snarl. "Hell has rooms for it, you too?" The autopsy found no medical cause of death. No tumors, no infections. Just a heart stopped mid-beat, as if something had reached inside her chest and squeezed. The trial made headlines. Her parents and the priests were charged with negligent homicide, accused of choosing faith over medicine. The church defended the exorcisms, claiming Anneliese's body had been a battleground for souls. Demons don't care if you believe in them. Father Enns testified, pale and trembling. They only care if you bleed. But the truest horror lingered in the evidence. Hours of audio tapes from the exorcisms survived. On them, Anneliese's voice shifts between a girl's whimpers and something older. Something that snarls curses in dead languages, then sings nursery rhymes in a child's tone. The final recording catches a priest's scream, followed by a wet, crunching sound. When investigators asked what happened, Father Halt replied. Belial blinked. Anneliese's grave in Bavaria is unmarked, her name scratched off by vandals. But locals swear the woods near her home still echo. They say if you stand where her bedroom once was at midnight, you'll hear it. A chorus of growls, laughter, and a girl's voice begging, "Make it stop. Please, make it stop." And sometimes, if you're foolish enough to whisper back, something does.